Welcome, dear listener. Tonight we step into a realm above clouds, where time feels endless and silent. The sky stretches wide, painted in shades of silver and blue, holding mysteries older than memory. Within that vastness lies a throne, unseen by mortal eyes, woven from light, wind, and eternal calm. It is here the story begins, with a figure who rules not through fear, but with harmony and wisdom. His name is whispered with reverence, for he's the keeper of thunder and the guardian of balance. Zeus, the Sky Eternal King, sits upon the horizon, his gaze reaching both dawn and endless dusk. Each storm that rolls, each rain that falls, carries the gentle mark of his guiding presence above. But Zeus is more than thunder. He is sunlight after rain, and the quiet comfort of starlit skies. In his watch, the world below thrives, nourished by clouds that bless rather than burden the earth. So close your eyes now. Let the rhythm of wind and distant thunder lead you deeper into his realm. Part 1 begins with silence, the kind of silence that holds the breath of the world within itself. Above the earth, clouds drift slowly, forming patterns that speak in a language few can understand. It is in this silence that destiny stirs, shaping the birth of one who would carry the sky in his soul. Zeus was born not in shadow, but in light, surrounded by whispers of stars and the promise of eternity. His cradle was not of wood or stone, but the boundless horizon that stretched beyond mortal sight. Every breeze that touched his skin carried a secret, as if the wind itself recognized its future king. The river sparkled brighter, the mountains stood taller, when they felt the pulse of his first breaths. The heavens trembled, not in fear, but in awe of the presence of balance taking form in the child. He grew beneath skies painted by dawn, each sunrise writing verses across the canvas of his youth. At night, constellations leaned closer, as if eager to watch him dream beneath their shining eyes. Zeus did not cry in storms. Instead, storms quieted, humbled by the calm strength within his heart. He laughed like rolling thunder, a sound that carried across valleys and awakened hidden wonder. Every leaf that rustled, every wave that rose, seemed to echo the rhythm of his rising spirit. From an early age, he sensed the pull of the heavens, a call written in lightning and endless blue. He would gaze upward, eyes reflecting the vast dome of stars, as if listening to their ancient song. The earth itself nurtured him, gifting fruits, waters, and the gentle lessons of growing in harmony. Yet the sky was his true teacher, offering him the wisdom of clouds and the patience of drifting winds. He learned that power was not to be seized, but received, like rain falling to nourish the waiting soil. He learned that greatness was not found in thunder's roar, but in the balance between storm and calm. These truths shaped him, guiding his steps toward the throne no hand had built, but always awaited. Legends tell that on his seventh dawn, the horizon glowed brighter than any morning before it. Birds circled high, singing in patterns that mirrored the constellations above the sleeping world. The ocean shimmered silver, as though the waves themselves bowed to greet the child of destiny. Even the quiet mountains released echoes, a chorus rising to announce the keeper of the heavens. Though young, Zeus carried within him an old knowing, a memory of balance older than creation. He was not a child of chance, but of order, chosen by the sky to embody its eternal watch. Every glance he lifted toward the heavens was answered by clouds shifting into crowns of light. Every step he took upon the earth sent ripples across the land, whispers of harmony unfolding. It was clear to all who observed, mortal or divine, that he was born to stand between sky and soil. He would not be ruler of force, but guardian of equilibrium, the bridge of heaven and earth. And so his story begins not in conquest, but in stillness, as a child marked by the eternal sky. Zeus, the Sky Eternal King, first opened his eyes to a world already listening for his voice. The winds hushed to hear him, the stars bent closer, and the dawn itself lingered at his side. This was no ordinary birth. This was the awakening of a presence that would guide the ages to come. Through him, thunder would speak not of fear, but of renewal, reminding the world of hidden balance. Through him, the sky would remain eternal, a sanctuary of harmony above the turning of time. And so, the journey of Zeus begins, in silence, in light, and in the promise of the eternal sky. Part 2 begins with a whisper, a call that cannot be heard with ears, but only felt in the spirit. Zeus, still young yet already tall in spirit, would pause often to gaze at the endless sky above. There was a rhythm in the heavens, a pulse of wind and cloud that seemed to beckon him closer. He knew it was not the earth that summoned him, but the boundless heights beyond mortal reach. Each time thunder rumbled, he felt a stirring in his chest, like a voice urging him to listen deeper. When the dawn unfolded, the horizon would glow, as though painted with hidden messages of fate. The call was not urgent nor harsh. It was patient, steady, like the breath of the eternal heavens. Zeus walked in meadows, yet his eyes lifted upward, searching for meaning written among clouds. Birds soared above him, their wings tracing paths as if guiding him toward his rightful direction. The wind touched his face gently, not random, but deliberate, carrying whispers of a greater design. One evening, beneath a canopy of stars, he sat upon a hill and opened his heart to the skies. The constellations shimmered brighter, arranging themselves like a chorus answering his silence. In that quiet moment, he felt the bond between himself and the vastness he could not yet hold. It was not a command, but an invitation, a reminder that the heavens awaited their guardian. He closed his eyes, and the sound of night became a song, weaving threads of destiny around him. Every note of that song spoke not of power alone, but of responsibility to balance and protect. Zeus understood then that the sky did not seek a ruler of storms, but a keeper of harmony. He was chosen not to dominate, but to listen, to guide, and to weave calm with tempest alike. This realization settled into his heart, as natural as breath, as eternal as the stars themselves. He opened his eyes again, and the heavens above seemed to nod, as if blessing his discovery. Days turned into seasons, and the call of the heavens grew clearer with every rising Sunday. He learned to hear the difference between thunder that warned and thunder that promised rain. He discovered how clouds spoke in silence, shifting to reveal the moods of the eternal dome. Every element was a voice, and together they formed a choir that only he could fully embrace. Zeus listened, and in listening, he grew, not in strength of arm, but in depth of understanding. The sky was not distant to him anymore. It became a companion, a teacher, a living bond. The sun warmed him as a mentor. The moon guided him in patience, and stars guarded his nights. Rain washed him with lessons of renewal. Lightning whispered truths of clarity and revelation. All of nature's voices, high and low, near and far, gathered in him like rivers meeting the sea. And in that confluence, Zeus began to sense the throne that waited, not forged, but eternal. Legends say that on the eve of his coming of age, the skies performed a dance unlike any other. Clouds spiraled in golden arcs. Thunder rolled gently like a drum, announcing sacred revelation. Birds circled higher than ever before, their cries merging with the music of the upper winds. The people below gazed upward, sensing something grand, though they did not know its source. They felt peace settle in their hearts, as though the very air had chosen to bless their world. Zeus stood tall that night, upon a ridge where earth touched sky, and he raised his arms in silence. He did not speak, for words were small, but his heart answered the heavens with steady devotion. And the sky replied, with a crown of light shimmering briefly, only to vanish into the clouds. The message was clear. The heavens recognized him, but the journey had only just begun. He was not yet king, but he was called, chosen, and forever bound to the vast eternal sky. Part 3 begins with clouds gathering, not in storm, but in gentle circles above the young guardian. They swirled together as if weaving threads of silk, forming patterns that shimmered in the sunlight. Zeus looked upward, his heart steady, for he knew the heavens were preparing to reveal their gift. The air grew quiet, a sacred hush, as though the world itself waited for the unfolding of destiny. From the soft embrace of mist, a crown appeared, formed not by hand but by the will of the skies. It was woven from light and shadow, storm and calm, every element bound in perfect harmony. The The crown of clouds hovered above him, glowing with silver edges and golden streaks of dawn. It was no jewel of kings, but a living symbol, fragile yet eternal, shifting yet always complete. As it descended slowly, the winds carried songs, voices of nature honoring the chosen guardian. The crown touched his brow, and in that instant, balance flowed into him like a river to the sea. Zeus did not feel burdened, for the crown was not weight, but the essence of harmony itself. It was the breath of clouds, the whisper of winds, the gentle promise of rain upon waiting soil. It carried no chains, no iron, only the reminder that every storm and every calm held meaning. He stood taller, not in pride, but in serenity, as if his spirit had grown to meet the endless sky. The birds soared above in spirals, tracing halos as if echoing the gift bestowed from heaven. Thunder rolled faintly, not in anger, but like a drum announcing the presence of sacred order. Even the rivers glimmered as though reflecting the unseen glow of the crown upon his head. Mortals far below gazed upward, sensing something radiant, though they could not name it. Children pointed to the horizon, smiling as if touched by joy they could not fully explain. The crown was felt, not only seen, spreading peace through the hearts of all beneath the sky. Zeus closed his eyes, breathing deeply, letting the rhythm of the crown merge with his essence. He felt the dance of clouds within him, the shifting tides of weather, the silence of clear skies. It was not a tool to command, but a melody to carry, one that demanded patience and care. Through the crown, he understood that every storm was a teacher, every calm a quiet guide. The sky did not ask for a conqueror. It longed for a keeper, one who could balance its voices. Zeus realized his role was not to stand above, but to stand within, united with the eternal dome. The crown reminded him, power without harmony fades, but balance endures across all time. His heart grew calm, like a lake at dawn, and his mind opened to wisdom older than mountains. The gift was not for him alone, but for every creature who lived under the sheltering sky. With it, he became more than a child of destiny. He became the embodiment of the heavens. Legends tell that when the crown settled, a rainbow stretched across the horizon like a bridge. It connected earth and sky, a promise that the bond between mortal and divine would endure. Zeus touched the arc of light with his gaze, understanding it as a vow he must honor forever. He would walk among storms, but his hand would also guide the sun back after the clouds. He would listen to the roar of thunder, but he would also cherish the silence between echoes. This duality became his truth, the balance that shaped the Sky Eternal King from within. The people below began to call him chosen, though they knew not the fullness of his destiny. They prayed not out of fear, but out of gratitude, thanking the heavens for his gentle watch. Every voice, every heart, felt safer beneath the dome of stars now crowned with his presence. Thus, the crown of clouds became more than a gift. It became the eternal mark of Zeus's reign. And so Part 3 closes, with Zeus standing tall beneath the endless dome, crowned by harmony. The sky above glowed with promise. The earth below sighed with relief. Balance now secure. The boy of destiny had stepped into his calling, carrying the sky not as burden, but as gift. The crown shimmered, alive and eternal, a symbol of unity between storm, calm, and all creation. Part 4 begins with a sound, deep and resonant, rolling across valleys and echoing through the skies. It was thunder, yet not the thunder of fear, but the living voice of the heavens taking form. Zeus stood beneath the vast horizon, the crown of clouds steady. Listening to the sky's language, he felt the vibration in his chest. Not as noise, but as a message written in tones of eternity. The sky was speaking, and he was chosen to understand, to translate, to carry its words onward. Each rumble was a syllable, each flash of light, a sentence, weaving stories of storm and calm. Zeus raised his gaze and opened his heart, letting the voice of thunder merge with his spirit. It became his own voice, not borrowed but shared, a harmony between mortal and eternal. When he spoke, his words carried the weight of mountains and the clarity of rushing rivers. His voice could call rain to bless the fields, or sunshine to return after the passing of clouds. The people below marveled, for when Zeus spoke, the air itself seemed to pause and listen. His words were not commands, but guidance, gentle reminders of order woven through creation. He told stories of balance, of storms that cleanse and skies that heal, of night that makes day whole. Mortals gathered, not in fear of his power, but in awe of the wisdom that poured from his voice. Children would sit quietly beneath olive trees, waiting to hear the echoes of his thunder roll. Farmers felt reassured, for his words promised the return of rain to their fields in due season. Sailors lifted their eyes with trust, knowing the winds followed the rhythm of his gentle speech. Even the wild animals stilled, ears turning as if guided by an invisible melody through the air. The thunder was no longer distant. It was near, alive, shaped by the voice of the Sky Eternal King. Through him, the heavens had found a way to speak directly to every living heart on earth. Zeus soon realized the voice of thunder was not only for others, it was also a teacher to him. In its echoes, he learned patience, for thunder waits between strikes, teaching him to pause. In its resonance, he learned strength, not the strength of force, but of calm endurance. In its song, he heard compassion, the way storms give way to sunlight, never clinging forever. Each lesson shaped him, molding his heart into the true vessel of balance he was meant to be. When storms gathered, he did not fear, for he knew they carried wisdom, as well as water. When silence stretched across the skies, he cherished it, for silence too had its sacred role. Thus he grew in harmony, walking with both thunder and quiet as equal companions of truth. The people named him the Speaker of the Sky, the one who gave meaning to the rolling clouds. But Zeus never claimed such titles. He only smiled, knowing he was but a vessel of the heavens. Legends say that once a vast drought fell upon the earth, leaving rivers thin and fields barren. The people looked to the sky in worry, whispering prayers carried upward on trembling winds. Zeus listened to their hearts and lifted his voice, speaking words shaped by thunder itself. His voice rolled across the land, steady and full, like rain long awaited by thirsty soil. Moments later, clouds gathered, not in fury but in tenderness, and the rain began to fall. The people rejoiced, not only for the water, but for the assurance that the heavens still cared. They understood then that the voice of Zeus was not magic, but the bond of balance fulfilled. His words were bridges, linking mortal need with eternal harmony in every breath he spoke. From that day, they trusted him fully, knowing that when thunder rolled, it was his promise, not of wrath, but of care, not of fear, but of the eternal balance of life under the sky. And so part 4 ends with Zeus, standing tall, his voice woven with thunder, calm, and rain. The heavens spoke through him, and the world listened, comforted by the harmony of his tone. He was no longer just crowned, he was heard, a living voice of the eternal sky's gentle will. Through him, thunder became more than sound. It became the song of wisdom for all creation. Part 5 opens with the dawn, a golden light spilling gently across the endless arc of the horizon. The night has retreated, and the first rays of the sun paint the clouds in hues of fire and rose. Zeus stands upon his throne of air, his eyes watching how the world awakens beneath his care. Every morning feels new to mortals, yet to him it is an eternal rhythm, a song without end. The chorus of birds rises, their voices threading into the music of rivers, winds, and trees. Zeus listens, not as a distant king, but as one who delights in the harmony of every note. He smiles, for the dawn is a promise fulfilled, the renewal of balance after the silence of night. Each sunrise is not a repetition, but a gift, unique in colors and patterns no eye has seen before. To Zeus, the sky is a canvas, and the brush is time itself, painting endlessly with care. The warmth of light embraces the earth, touching mountains, seas, and fields with gentle grace. On this morning, Zeus feels a stirring within his heart, a deeper call from the expanse above. It is not thunder this time, nor storm, but a quiet melody, soft as a whisper across clouds. The sky speaks again, though not in rumble or lightning, but in the calm hush of awakening. Zeus closes his eyes, hearing the message woven into the silence of the rising Sunday. It tells of cycles, of endings that birth beginnings, of change that nourishes the eternal whole. The voice of the dawn teaches him that balance is not static, but always moving, always alive. He realizes that even kings must yield to the flow, for to resist is to break the harmony. So he opens his heart wider, becoming not only a ruler but a student of time's gentle rhythm. The people sense his growth, though they cannot see his throne nor hear the whisper of the sky. They notice it in the steadiness of seasons, in the calm certainty that order will return. Villagers wake with trust, farmers guiding their plows into fields soft with promise of harvest. Children laugh as they chase the morning light, their shadows long yet playful across the ground. Travelers step onto paths with courage, knowing the road is blessed under a sky of balance. They feel safe not because storms will never come, but because storms will always pass in time. Zeus's presence becomes a rhythm woven into their days, an invisible guardian above. When the wind shifts, they feel him. When rain falls, they remember his promise of renewal. Each element carries his signature, not as control, but as companionship in their daily lives. And so the bond between earth and sky deepens, strengthened by trust, never by fear. Mortals tell stories around fires at night, tales of the Sky Eternal King's kindness and care. His legend grows, not from battles or conquest, but from the peace his voice leaves in hearts. Yet Zeus knows legends are not his goal. They are reflections, shadows cast by greater truths. The dawn teaches him that his reign is not for glory, but for the flourishing of all creation. To guide is to serve. To lead is to listen. To rule is to weave oneself into the lives of others. This wisdom humbles him, reminding him that even eternal crowns are given, not claimed. He bows his head to the rising sun, not in worship, but in gratitude for its daily lesson. The crown of clouds shimmers faintly, touched by gold, as if acknowledging his silent vow. He promises to remain faithful, to let his strength be tempered always by compassion. The sky answers in silence, yet within that silence lies the vast embrace of eternal trust. Zeus breathes deeply, carrying the calm of dawn into his heart, where it will never fade. The day begins, and with it, the endless story of balance written across heaven and earth. So part 5 closes with the rising of the sun, steady, timeless, and forever new. Zeus watches, not as a distant king, but as a guardian who learns with each day's light. And the world below continues to thrive, guided by his voice and the eternal rhythm of dawn. Part 6 opens with twilight, when the sun has dipped low and the horizon glows with fading fire. The world softens into hues of violet and gold, and the first stars stretch awake in the sky. Zeus stands still, watching the shift between day and night, where silence carries a sacred weight. It is in this moment that balance feels clearest, when endings and beginnings stand side by side. The people light their lamps below, unaware that their tiny flames mirror the stars above. To Zeus, this hour is a bridge, not only for light and dark, but for thought and reflection. He listens to the quiet, for even the silence of twilight has lessons hidden within it. Every pause, every fading color, speaks of patience, reminding him that time cannot be rushed. The sky is never in haste, and so he too learns to move not with urgency, but with steadiness. Each breath he takes becomes a rhythm, tied to the heartbeat of the vast and endless heavens. On this evening, the clouds form shapes like scrolls, curling and stretching across the firmament. Zeus imagines them as the sky's own writings, a script older than any mortal alphabet. The wind turns the pages gently, revealing new patterns as shadows deepen in the air. He knows the stories are endless, written in drifting clouds and fading lines of light. Sometimes they tell of rain, sometimes of calm, but always of harmony between elements. Tonight, they whisper of stillness, of pausing long enough to hear what silence truly says. Zeus closes his eyes and allows himself to drift into that listening, patient, and attentive. The lesson arrives slowly. Even kings need rest. Even guardians must honor quiet moments. Balance is not only action, but also repose, a truth woven deeply into Twilight's embrace. He accepts this wisdom, storing it within to guide him as surely as the thunder once did. Below, families gather, sharing food and laughter under the soft glow of hearth and flame. Children chase fireflies, their giggles rising into the night. Like sparks joining the stars, elders tell stories, their voices weaving the memory of past days into the present air. Every sound, though small, adds to the chorus of the evening, alive with gentle togetherness. Zeus listens and feels a warmth deeper than lightning or storm, a glow born of unity. This too is his kingdom, not the crown of clouds, but the lives of those who thrive in peace. Their joy is his strength, their trust the crown that no wind can scatter or storm undo. For them he watches, for them he speaks, for them he guards the balance of sky and earth, and in return their love rises upward, unseen yet felt. As a steady tide that greets the stars, it is a bond without words, eternal as twilight, renewed in every sigh of evening wind. As the night deepens, Zeus lifts his gaze to the constellations scattered across the Black Sea. Each star is like a companion, a light that endures despite distance, offering its quiet shine. He wonders at their journeys, how they burn in silence, never asking for praise or reward. From them he learns humility, for even eternal kings are but one part of a greater whole. He bows his head slightly, not in sorrow, but in respect for the vastness of creation. For if thunder taught him voice, and dawn taught him renewal, twilight now teaches humility. The sky is infinite, yet in its expanse there is room for every star, every soul, every life. This truth fills him with peace, a calm certainty that no crown could ever give alone. He understands now that his reign is not to shine brighter, but to let all lights shine freely. The stars twinkle as if in agreement, their shimmer a chorus of silent approval from above. And so Part 6 closes beneath a canopy of stars, with twilight fading into the embrace of night. Zeus stands not as a ruler to be feared, but as a guardian who listens to silence and light. His heart is steady, his wisdom deepened, his crown secure in humility and endless care. The world rests, the sky sings, and the Sky Eternal King watches with calm, eternal eyes. Part 7 begins with the sound of wind sweeping gently across the wide expanse of mountains and sea. The air moves with freedom, unseen yet present, carrying whispers from distant valleys and shores. Zeus closes his eyes to feel it, the endless breath of the sky that touches every corner of the world. Wind is not bound, not owned, yet it serves all, bringing clouds, scattering seeds, guiding ships. To mortals, it is a breeze or a storm. But to Zeus, it is the living spirit of the heavens. Each current carries stories, laughter from villages, prayers from temples, songs from wanderers. The wind is memory itself, carrying fragments of voices to the ears of the Sky Eternal King. Zeus learns to listen, not with ears alone, but with the stillness of his heart wide open. In its constant travel, he finds a reminder that all things must move, must flow, must change. And so he embraces the lesson of wind, freedom that respects balance, motion guided by harmony. Down below, sailors raise their sails, trusting the invisible hand that pushes them toward hope. Farmers welcome breezes that cool their brows, gifts of the sky as they labor in golden fields. Children laugh as gusts lift their kites high, letting them feel as though they touch the clouds. Every life beneath the heavens is touched by wind, even if few think of where it comes from. Zeus knows, and he honors this unseen servant, for its power is both tender and immense. He does not command it, he listens, allowing it to teach him what movement without force means. Wind bends the tree but does not break it, clears the sky yet never seeks to hold it forever. Its freedom is the proof of balance, a lesson carried into the eternal throne of clouds. To guide like the wind, Zeus realizes, is not to bind, but to give space for others to grow. And in that thought, his kingship deepens, shaped by the very breath of the world he guards. In the evenings, the people feel his presence when sudden breezes stir their quiet gatherings. Some smile, believing it to be Zeus himself, sending comfort through the coolness of the night. Others whisper prayers into the wind, trusting it will carry their words to the eternal king. Each voice, each hope, reaches him, woven into the fabric of the currents that roam the skies. He answers not always in words, but in the gentle push of air that reminds them they are heard. And so, a bond forms, invisible yet strong, linking sky and earth with threads of unseen breath. The people live, love, and labor, unaware of how often their spirits are lifted by his care. Yet Zeus does not need their knowledge. It is enough that balance is held and peace endures. He smiles quietly in the vastness above, his joy carried outward on the very winds he honors. The crown of clouds shimmers, shaped not by thunder now, but by the flowing spirit of air. Legends arise, telling of times when storms threatened to scatter homes and bend tall forests. But instead of destruction, the wind would shift, guiding danger away, sparing those in need. The elders said it was Zeus, choosing gentleness over fury, guidance over power. These tales spread across generations, teaching that strength lies not in control but in wisdom. Children learned that the breeze on their cheeks was a sign of care from the sky above. Sailors taught their apprentices to respect the wind, to listen as much as to navigate. And farmers bowed their heads when breezes came, thanking the unseen king for his kindness. Thus, the wind became not only an element, but a symbol of the Sky Eternal King's heart. Zeus himself knew that legends would fade, but the lessons of wind would remain forever. For as long as the air moved, its truth would endure, written into every breath of life. So part 7 closes with the wind still moving, eternal, unbound, carrying harmony across the earth. Zeus stands in stillness, crowned by clouds, yet his heart moves freely with the spirit of the air. He is king, not by holding power tightly, but by letting freedom flow where it is most needed. And in the endless wind, he finds his truest reflection, the Sky Eternal King, gentle and free. Part 8 opens with the stillness of dawn spreading across the horizon, soft light touching the peaks and valleys. Zeus watches from his throne of clouds, the golden glow reflecting on the endless expanse of the heavens. The morning is not only light, it is a promise, a new chapter written across the canvas of the sky. Every sunrise teaches renewal, that endings are beginnings dressed in colors of gentle fire. Zeus lets the warmth fall upon him, a reminder that even the eternal must embrace cycles of change. For he is not only ruler of storms and winds, but also guardian of the silent peace between them. In the hush of dawn, he hears the earth awakening, hearts stirring with quiet gratitude. Birds lift their wings, carried by the soft breath of morning, filling the world with hymns of life. Flowers open to the light, their fragrance rising like offerings to the king above. Villages hum with movement, fires lit, doors opening, footsteps echoing on stone and soil. Each action, small yet sacred, weaves into the greater pattern of harmony he cherishes. Zeus listens to this symphony of beginnings, more powerful than thunder, more eternal than flame. He realizes that true greatness lies not in force, but in giving space for others to rise. And so he smiles, for the sun itself seems to greet him. Partner of the sky, eternal companion. The people look upward, their eyes touched by light, their voices whispering thanks to unseen heavens. Not all speak his name, but all feel his presence in the calm unfolding of the day. Farmers bless their fields, knowing the balance of rain and sun will guide their harvest. Travelers set out on roads with hope, believing the sky will watch over their uncertain paths. Children laugh as the light sparkles across streams, chasing reflections as if catching dreams. All these lives, small yet infinite, are carried in the heart of the Sky Eternal King. He does not need their worship, for their joy is the truest offering they can give. And in their joy, he finds his own an endless circle of giving and receiving, unseen yet felt. At times, clouds drift lazily, shading the earth in cool comfort, a gentle hand from above. At times, the sun burns bright, guiding growth, a fire that reminds mortals of resilience. Every shift, every breath of light is chosen with care, crafted into balance by Zeus's will. He is not only king of sky, but steward of harmony, keeper of unseen order. The crown of clouds above him glows softly, woven with rays of morning's grace. Legends spread among the people, telling of the king who painted dawn with compassion. They say his heart shines in every sunrise, proof that he is not distant, but near. Mothers teach their children to wake with gratitude, for each day is a gift from the sky. Sailors, watching the east, bow their heads before setting sail, trusting the promise of light. And poets write verses to the dawn, singing of Zeus's quiet guardianship through endless ages. For dawn is more than time, it is a blessing, a sign that balance remains unbroken. And balance is the essence of Zeus, eternal king, watching over earth and sky alike. As the morning deepens, Zeus rises, his spirit vast, woven with light itself. He does not speak, for the sun speaks for him. Its brilliance, his silent message. The people may not see his form, but they feel the truth in their hearts. Every dawn is Zeus's gift. Every sunrise, a gentle promise of guidance and care. And so Part 8 closes in golden light, with Earth alive, the sky eternal, and Zeus at peace. Part 9 begins with twilight spreading its veil across the sky, a gentle bridge between day and night. Zeus watches as the horizon glows in amber and violet, the heavens painted in fading light. The air grows quiet, as if the world pauses to breathe, honoring the beauty of the closing day. Stars begin to awaken, their soft shimmer like distant voices calling through the dark. To mortals, this is evening. To Zeus, it is a reminder of eternity, the dance of light and shadow. He sits upon his throne of clouds, the crown above him glowing with the last warmth of the Sunday. Night is not an ending, but a renewal, the hidden half of life where dreams take their form. Zeus listens closely, for twilight carries whispers of reflection, gratitude, and quiet hope. The people below prepare for rest, their fires glowing gently, like earthbound stars. Families gather, sharing food, stories, and laughter, weaving bonds that outlast fleeting hours. Children drift into sleep, their breaths steady, watched by parents who whisper prayers of thanks. Travelers on distant roads lift their eyes, comforted by the first starlight guiding their path. Farmers pause at their doors, gazing at the sky, trusting the night as much as the dawn. Each heart holds both fear and wonder at the dark. Yet in Zeus's care, the balance is steady. He smiles, knowing the stars above are not faraway fires, but symbols of hope unbroken. Every star is like a seed of light, scattered across the heavens by his eternal hand. And in their glow, mortals find courage, strength to face what they cannot see. For night is not emptiness, but a canvas where faith and imagination shine brightest. Zeus honors the night as he honors the day, for both complete the circle of existence. The crown of clouds around him glimmers faintly, silvered by moonlight, rising with grace. The moon, his silent companion, takes its throne, guiding tides and hearts alike. Legends say the moon is a gift from Zeus, a gentle lantern to keep mortals from despair. Poets write of its glow as the smile of the eternal king, calm and steadfast. Sailors follow its path across the sea, believing it to be the eye of Zeus himself. Lovers walk beneath its light, weaving vows under the watchful sky eternal. And children, hearing stories by firelight, imagine Zeus painting stars with his mighty hand. Yet Zeus knows it is not might that keeps the night alive, but patience and care. The night teaches that rest is sacred, that silence holds wisdom as deep as thunder. In darkness, the soul breathes freely, finding truths hidden from the noise of day. And so he blesses the night, a time not of fear, but of renewal for every living heart. Mortals rest, and while they sleep, Zeus keeps watch, ensuring harmony holds even unseen. He does not slumber, for the eternal must remain present, though gentle in his guardianship. His joy lies not in being seen, but in knowing the world rests safely beneath his gaze. The stars, countless and eternal, mirror the boundless care within his vast spirit. He knows mortals will never count them all, yet each one is given for their wonder. Twilight fades fully into night, but peace remains, wrapped around earth like a tender cloak. The world breathes in rhythm, guided by the quiet strength of the eternal king above. And so Part 9 closes in starlight, with Zeus silent yet near, keeper of balance in the night. Part 10 begins with dawn breaking once more, a golden river of light flowing across the sky's vast canvas. Zeus watches from his eternal throne, the crown of clouds shimmering with morning's renewed promise. The cycle has turned again. Day follows night, peace follows silence, and hope follows rest. He feels the rhythm of the world, steady and infinite, a heartbeat that connects sky and earth. Mortals awaken to the glow, unaware of how deeply their lives are held in balance by his care. Farmers step into their fields, grateful for the gift of another day beneath open heavens. Sailors raise their sails to the breeze, trusting the unseen king who guides their course. Children run into meadows, laughing as though the sun itself has come to play with them. Every soul carries within them the quiet blessing of the Sky Eternal King's guardianship. Zeus smiles, for their joy is his own, their peace, the crown that needs no jewels. He has learned through wind, storm, dawn, and night that power is not to command, but to protect. Strength is not thunder, but patience. Not fire, but compassion. Not control, but harmony. The world does not bow in fear of him, it rises in freedom because of him. And this, he knows, is the truest form of eternal rule, written not in force, but in care. Legends will tell of Zeus, king of the sky, but not as a tyrant wielding storms. They will tell of him as a guardian, shaping balance, giving space for life to thrive. Poets will speak of him in whispers, not roars, for his greatness is quiet, yet unshakable. Children will hear stories of a king whose hand is the breeze, and whose heart is the dawn. And lovers will gaze at stars, believing his watchful eye blesses their promises of forever. The crown of clouds rests gently above him, glowing with every cycle of day and night. It is not a symbol of power taken, but of balance maintained, of harmony protected. Zeus breathes deeply, the air itself a reminder that he is woven into all things eternal. He does not need temples or monuments, for the sky is his temple, the world his offering. Each sunrise, each star, each gust of wind is enough to honor the eternal king. And mortals, though they may never see his form, will always feel his unseen hand. For he is the stillness before storms, the song of dawn, the wisdom of night. He is the presence that makes balance possible, the unseen thread holding all together. The people will live, love, and labor, unaware of how deeply he guides their fragile harmony. And yet, Zeus will remain content, for their joy is proof of his eternal purpose. His reign is not of conquest, but of guardianship, not of control, but of everlasting care. The throne of clouds will endure, shaped by wind and light, renewed by every passing day. And the crown will shine with stars, with dawn, with storms, with silence, forever unbroken. For the Sky Eternal King does not fade, does not waver, he simply is. Zeus, eternal guardian of balance, remains steadfast, timeless, and gentle in his strength. And so Part 10 closes, not with an ending, but with the endless promise of harmony. The sky remains vast, eternal, and bright, carrying forever the presence of its king.